grade, Mrs. Jacobs is teaching us about the first Thanksgiving with the Pilgrims and the Indians. And my hand shot up. Oh, Mrs. Jacobs, I'm an Indian. Oh, no, you're not, honey. Indians are extinct. Puzzled, I went home and I asked my dad, what does extinct mean? And he said, it's like the dinosaurs. They once were alive, and now they're all dead, gone. That's extinct. Miss Jacobs says Indians are extinct, which means we're extinct. And I burst into tears and I ran into my room. And from my bed, I could hear my parents using lots of words I'm not allowed to repeat. The next day, my dad took off work so he could converse with the teacher. This event led to him running for and being elected to the school board. Now, I tell that story often. In fact, it's even in my play, And So We Walked, an artist's journey along the Trail of Tears. But the story that I never tell is what happened the following week, when I once again raised my hand because I knew an answer. Yes, I was that kid. I knew all the answers. And Miss Jacobs had a teacher's aide who slapped her hand over my mouth hard and then locked me in the closet. That was the day I lost my voice. I never raised my hand again. I developed severe social anxiety. Now, my people, the Cherokee, we are matrilineal, which means our women have power and say in everything we do. Everything belongs to the woman. Everything. And I grew up hearing stories about Chief Ottokushkala. In 1759, this was before America was America, Chief Ottokushkala and his council were asked to meet with the British. So Chief Ottokushkala arrived with his council, men and women, as famous in war and as powerful in council. And when Chief Ottokushkala looked at the British men assembled before him, he asked, "Where are your women?" And when the British replied, "We do not involve them in matters of state," Chief Ottokushkala turned to his council and said, "We can't trust them. They think with only half their brains." Now, Cherokee women are meant to be leaders, so my newfound social anxiety would not do. My father made me take speech, debate, and drama, and I hated him for it. But those classes saved my life. I found my voice using other people's words. I was able to be myself by hiding behind a character. Those classes gave me the coping skills to be on this stage today. Now today, our theme is collective liberation. To explore that concept, I had to first remember the ways that oppression has and continues to show up in my life. And as an Indigenous woman living in what is now known as the United States, well, we fight oppression daily. At this very moment, in the U.S. Supreme Court in Holland v. Brackeen, we are fighting to uphold the Indian Child Welfare Act. This is a law that was enacted in 1978 due to the high number of children who are being separated from their families. And this law gave the tribal jurisdiction and matters of say in regards to child welfare involving children of federally recognized tribes. At this very moment, we Cherokee are fighting the U.S. Supreme Court to uphold a right that was granted to us in the 1835 Treaty of New Echota that promised the Cherokee a delegate in Congress in exchange for giving up our lands. At this very moment, Native American families are facing severe climate challenges. The newest threat in a history marked by centuries of distress and dislocation. The first Americans face losing their homelands once again. This is from the New York Times. At this very moment, Native families are searching for their missing and murdered Indigenous women, girls, and two-spirits. This current crisis can be traced back to the U.S. Supreme Court decision in Oliphant v. Suquamish Indian Tribe in 1978. See, that decision limited our tribal jurisdiction so that we could no longer prosecute non-native perpetrators who committed crimes on our native lands. And since we are sovereign nations, that means the state police have no jurisdiction either. Instead, the FBI has jurisdiction. And according to MMIW, the exhibition Laws and Legacy, the FBI throws out 3/4 of those cases without ever prosecuting them. You know what that means? It means that right now, at this very moment, I am safer standing in this little red dot than I am in my own home on the Cherokee Reservation in Oklahoma. Why all this background? Well, I grew up between two worlds. My mother is German-Irish, and she was reared in the Christian faith. Now, she is barely 5'2", and she insists that I don't talk about her because it's none of your business. Now, my father is Cherokee, and he didn't learn English until he was 9 years old. And that's when the U.S. government forcibly removed him from his family and sent him to an American Indian boarding school, where he remained until he enlisted in the Vietnam War. Collective liberation cannot be achieved until we acknowledge the treatment of this nation's original inhabitants. Because the way they treat us will determine how they treat you. Yes. And we can only achieve collective liberation through community, through each other. And we Native Americans are a vital part of that shared community, your community. And we are a vital part of this nation's shared history, past, present, and future. We are still here, and we will always be here. You want to know a secret? Yes. Some indigenous wisdom? We are the ones we've been waiting for. Yes. We cannot keep looking to elected officials to make the changes that we want to see. We can only do that by encouraging each other to live in that place of vulnerability, empathy, and appreciation, not tolerance, but appreciation of our beautiful diversity. We must live in a way that honors our ancestors and preserves life for the next 7 generations, so that they too may become future ancestors for the next 7, and so on. And we do this by remembering that we are all connected. Or as my father says, it's not a small world, it's a big family. Digada Gayu, we belong to each other. And the best way for us to connect is by sharing our stories. Stories are medicine. They are an act of healing for ourselves and each other's. Stories create a chasm, an opening that honors the human experience. Channeling the creative is the only time that I feel both in my body and outside of myself, yet connected to everything. And when we share something specific, even the dark things, the things that we're not supposed to talk about, the things that we should be ashamed or afraid or embarrassed to share, we are giving a voice to feelings that we all have. And we are creating a space where no one has to be alone anymore. Now, when the world crumbled around us, where did you seek comfort? Where did you? Now, I find comfort in the arts, through telling stories, through you. And I believe that everyone has a story inside them. And now is the most critical time to be sharing those stories. We need it. We have survived a global pandemic, And we must know that we have faced the darkness, and we came out on the other side with strength, resiliency, and light, standing side by side. At this very moment, we need each other. Now, one of the greatest Cherokee values is Gadugi. It's when people come together as one and work to help each other. And as Cherokee Elder Benny Smith says, Gadugi ensures that no one has to climb out of a life endeavor alone. To achieve collective liberation, we must acknowledge the multiple oppressions that every group of historically marginalized, misrepresented, underrepresented, erased, and in my case, extinct people. Because only then can we work together in solidarity to undo those oppressions. And only then can we truly be free. My name is DeLanna Studi, and this is my story. What's yours? Wado.